And hello and welcome back to our third installment trying to finish one painting. Last time you will recall we were somewhat rained out and I was saying at worst I might have a warped canvas after the rain. But if you will look at the side, it actually helped straighten out the bloody canvas. It was already had a curve to it and now it's straight again, so I'm happy. Other than the ding I made in the corner on the way here, which I've straightened out, but we are not at the yellow house today. We are not on the location of the log cabin. We are, in fact, at the White House.
With beautiful Thompson's General Baptist Church over here. How old's that building?
That building there is a little older. The part on the other side is within the last, 10 years or so. They just built the new part over there. If y'all had been up here, say...
That's the little White House as opposed to the big White House.
About 50, if y'all had been up here about 15 years ago, if you looked across the road right there, and right down the hillside over there, you would have seen a couple of popular subjects for country art. Namely, the old two-holer. Or in this case, they were actually one-holers. And for those of y'all that ain't cultured enough to know what that is, I'm talking about an outhouse.
A privy.
Yeah.
A latrine.
Yeah. Another word that I'm not going to use because we're trying to keep a PG-13 rating at least.
Yep.
And I've got 2 young kids here that don't need to hear it.
Yeah.
Even though they probably...
And there are ladies present.
Not 3, in fact. Alright, we're going to continue. Last time we were talking, pardon me, about the Lucas painting medium. Martha, don't do that. It ain't nice.
Okay.
It's not ladylike.
Kid Mad, get down from there.
I told her to. I told her to sit down.
And I have mixed some colors on my palette, and I'll try to think and go through that for a change.
That's almost like a marsh green. That's what I'd call it on the apple barrel paints I used for my own painting projects.
I started that. Now I have been, if you follow any of my Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or Deviantart pages, you'll know that I have been playing around using the Zorn palette, which is actually only 3 colors in white, but we're not doing that today.
And contrary to popular belief, it was not invented by a giant lizard that tried to kill Kirk.
That's a Gorn.
Owned.
Star Trek Lesson 1 for today. Love them bag clips.
Oh, that's
Fascinating.
And I have added a new weapon in my painting arsenal. New weapon, pair of pliers.
Okay.
Which should have been in there in the first place for them stubborn...
the bolts.
Well, no, for the stubborn paint caps.
Oh.
Sometimes you do get a stubborn paint cap. And I have added 3 clips to put a paper bag back there on the back of my easel, so I have a built-in trash bag.
It's nice weather today.
Unlike last time. Alright, we have got, I started out, of course, with white, sap green, yellow ochre, raw umber, burnt sienna, Payne's gray, cadmium yellow, medium, Venetian red, and Gamblin's chromatic black, which is not a pure black pigment. It is actually a mixture of 2 or 3 different pigments, I believe.
I see a little red in it.
Well, that's because I drug red through it.
Oh, okay.
But there is red in it. Well, we can grab the tube here. And the pigments are PG36 and PV19, which is a green and a violet.
Yeah.
So, and if you got violet, you got red and blue in there. So, and cobalt blue, because I couldn't remember what blue I used on the sky last time. I'm using cobalt blue today. And I have mixed a whole mishmash of stuff here. This is sap green and cadmium yellow, sap green and yellow ochre. This is a hot mess. This is burnt or raw sienna and yellow ochre, Venetian red and chromatic black, Payne's gray and white, Payne's gray, white, and cobalt blue. And
Okay.
that's what we're going to be messing with today. And I have mixed all those with the Lucas painting medium, and there went a canvas.
And the Lucas paint, and that's the butter type stuff,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, that's the stuff that's going to let me paint this in a more thick fashion cheaply. And if you'll pardon my boarding house reach, we're going to start with this brush. Unfortunately, it doesn't say what it is. It looks like it could be a flat or a really bad filbert. And now I got to figure out where I'm going to start.
I thought filberts were like those little nuts they put in.
Okay, I'm going to have a drink on that.
And wish you had something stronger.
Shameless product plug.
Yeah, too bad they're not paying us for it.
Yeah, but they could.
Hey, Pepsi, call us.
I'm not going to. I'm gonna actually start on the roof because the roof is so freaking incomplete right now. We're going to lay down. We're going to lay down some tracks. I'm going for a really rough look on this painting. I've been thinking about it, and I really don't want it to look refined and complete. I'm just going to go for something really rough.
Which it doesn't look
Kind of give it a bit of a
rough.
folk art edge to it.
Yeah,
It
something.
doesn't look that much rough as it does good.
Well, as long as it looks good, I don't care how rough it is. If it looks good, that's the key to make it look like something. So I'm going to be laying this paint down fairly thick, and I believe right about here they came off like that. I'm trying to do this from memory. I have a picture on my phone, but if anybody knows, if y'all knew how many pictures I had on my phone, the idea of finding a picture is extremely difficult, unless I have just downloaded it today, which this one I definitely did not, because I took the actual photo back, when was it, April, when we started this video?
I do believe.
Okay, I've got the basic color of that. Obviously, this is not the original roof that was on the building. It was probably
Thatch.
or shingles or something, or wood, you know, at the time.
Planking.
But now, of course, it has been.
That's neat how you do that. Yeah.
No, hitting the.
Yeah. Michael here has gotten us started to painting.
Yes, we have a project. Well, I'm in the process of lining out an interesting project.
And also, Mike is the one who got me started on painting.
Yeah. And if you follow our channel on Facebook, then you have seen...
Facebook?
Yes.
Oh.
Myra Madd's
Oh, I did.
painting that she did a tremendous job with.
Oh, Mike.
Yes.
Sometime you might want to see the paintings that I made.
Yeah.
Because I made some pretty good ones.
Oh, I did a bit of the sketch that I did of a stegosaurus on the canvas.
Yeah.
I started painting on it this morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We're liable to talk about anything while we're doing this.
Yeah, that's what makes it interesting.
And it is the 4th of July, so I am wearing last time we met, it was Memorial Day weekend. And this time it is the middle of the week.
This is an incredibly patriotic painting. Mama, it's a log cabin. How much more American can you get?
Yep. I'm liking where that's heading. Now we're going to get to the fun part and see if I can do this and make it look like something besides. Great thing, I think I said last time when we were talking about, sorry to be talking bottom of my head or top of my head or whatever y'all are looking, maybe looking at the painting, which would be better. But last time we were talking about something. Painting butter. Yeah, or Lucas painting medium number 5. And it dries really quick.
A little rust on the tin.
Yeah. And for y'all B-52 fans, the legend that tin roof rusted is supposed to mean someone is pregnant. That's about as southern as New England clam chowder. Until that song came out, I had never heard that phrase. And now everybody thinks it's a southern thing, and it ain't. Sorry to destroy your belief system there, if that shattered your belief system. I do apologize. Not to say I don't enjoy the music of the B-52s. That spot is really rusty.
All right, Madlings. Butts on seats.
Okay.
All right, let's get Van Gogh here now.
I'll leave the ear on.
There it is. There it is.
Oh, your ear?
Yeah.
So you can smell.
You know, every time you say, let's get Van Gogh, I'm going to tell you to watch your ear.
Yeah. All right, so we have, I'm going to leave the roof like it is. Yeah, I want to leave the roof like it is for right now.
Oh, that actually does look good. And the angle, you'll notice the angle of the brush strokes kind of gives it a sort of a three-dimensional look.
I am going to do one thing with just some chromatic black. I think I'm going to delineate a little line right there. A little line right there, and then kind of fade that into the mist a little bit. And there.
I like that.
I've got to work quick. I'm going to have to work quicker today, I hope, than usual, because I have mentioned more than once that this stuff does dry very quickly, and
Which means that paint drying may actually be exciting again.
yes. Well, you know, it was dry the last time before we had actually finished shooting our additional bonus "It's Raining Outside and We Got Nothing Better to Do" footage.
Oh, yeah. That was fun.
Trying to get an easel put back together after somebody took it apart, however, was not. All right, we're going to work on our trees. And we're going to...
And you could tell what time of year this was. The leaves hadn't budded yet.
You want to do what? This is...
Yep. This was the house that was way up on that hill.
Yeah, it was an adventure. Well, that's almost a green looking color.
Oh, moss on the trees.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I've got some nice dark browns here I can add in. And I am going to do some serious playing with these trees. I'm not going for realism. I never have. If I did, we'd be in sad shape. Let's put it that way, viewers. But I'm about to mix some more painting butter. Just because I can, and I paid for the stuff, and I'm going to use it. And my home quote-unquote studio is not ventilated well enough for use at home.
Otherwise, who knows what he might start saying.
Who knows what I might start. I might start pulling a Van Gogh and eating the paint.
Did he seriously do that?
Yeah, it said that he actually did when he was in the asylum at San Remi. He actually did chow down on some paint.
Okay.
When he was having these seizures, which may or may not have been epileptic, could have been something else. I said I was going to mix some butter, didn't I? And I'm sitting there playing with the trees still. Boy, that's a fat limb for that high up.
Maybe he's got a tumor.
Maybe it's another limb behind it. I don't know. There, how fat.
At least he didn't look at me and say, "It's not a tumor."
Probably because, unfortunately, I did not think to say that.
And there are people now wonder why he thought to say that.
Because you never know what we're going to think of to say.
Hey, at least we keep it
assured,
interesting.
it will probably not be normal. Well, I've just added a limb to this tree. Well, it's my tree, my world. I'll put as many little happy limbs on it as I want to.
Which I guess is better than putting side ones
The
on there where they're all
sky is
droopy.
the sky is actually very flat, but it's got a lot. But with all the different directions I used when I was playing with it, it actually looks like it's got plenty of movement in it. And the way the clouds were moving that day, I believe we had just got done painting that day, and we ran into that age-old problem of rain.
I thought it was either rain or nightfall.
I think it was rain that day because I think we were rushing trying to get to the store.
I think you might be right.
And brand new brush from Hobby Lobby here. Another shameless plug. But I do.
Again, not sponsored by Hobby Lobby, but we could be. Hey, Hobby Lobby, call us.
That is looking really nasty at the moment.
What, the tree?
Yeah.
I've seen worse.
I've seen better. And then again, I'm not going for. And that tree stump, we're definitely going to improve that here as soon as I start doing what I said I was going to do 10 minutes ago with this painting and get me some. Well, that stuff.
Butter makes everything better. At least if Paula Dean's to be believed. Even I don't think she'd want to bake with that.
I don't even smell the stuff. To be honest, that stuff is already starting to dry on me.
Looks like a petroleum jelly type stuff.
Oh yeah, it's definitely got that smell too. I'm gonna mix that pretty thick into my two
raw sienna, or is that raw umber?
That's the raw sienna, and this is raw umber. Good enough.
I wonder what the difference between burnt sienna and burnt umber is with the raw sienna and raw umber.
Ones that the burnt, they actually quote unquote burn the
pigment.
The pigment and make it a little darker, and it's the same with burnt sienna and raw sienna, which
I guess would be the same thing with burnt orange.
Give this thing some character. What do you want to drink? Yeah, that's a little better. Big old tree stump.
Yeah, like the one that was out there that day.
I'm gonna bark these trees up a little bit now.
Thought that was a bug on my elbow. It turned out it was Kid Mad.
Filbert brushes are great toys.
My hair is a little crazy in wind.
I'm really beginning to like a good filbert brush. I can do a lot of neat stuff with them. Of course, with this thick paint, it's a little harder to get some of the effects I want with it. But give the tree a little.
I want something to drink.
I think somebody wants something to drink.
Maybe I should take that.
Mike.
Yes.
Alright, who wants to go to Granny's?
I like
You want to go to Nana's?
that. No.
For a little bit.
Go to Grammy's.
We will see Grammy in a little while. We'll all see Grammy in a little while.
I'll go when you're ready.
Bye, Martha. Bye, Anna.
Bye.
Love you, hon.
Anna. Bye. Wait, where's Anna's Minnie Mouse here? Oh no, it's in the car.
Yeah, she didn't have it when she come over here, just a unicorn.
Yeah. All right.
Definitely not realism.
But there is a certain dreamlike quality to it.
I need a fatter brush.
So you can see right here on on the rooftop how the angle of the brushes actually creates the illusion of 3 dimensions.
Ooh, I gotta take that thing off. It's getting hot out here.
Yeah.
Speaking of something to drink.
Yeah. Hope she remembers me. But yeah, I can smell that butter from here.
Yeah, it's definitely got an odor. I could not use it in the house because I could not. Them trees are definitely going to need some work, and I know just what to do with them when I get to it.
Termites?
Yeah, probably.
I'm glad we could get out here today.
Yeah. You still recording?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not. I have a comment, but I'll make that private.
Well, I can pause this for a second. There we go.
All right, and we are still rolling along here on the.
Moving right along. I know, I look nothing like Fozzie.
Oh, you got enough hair, huh? I kind of got that Statler and Waldorf thing going on myself.
Which I guess is better than Gonzo.
Nah, yeah. That ain't turning out half bad now.
Yeah. So what are you planning on doing with your 4th?
Well, when I get done doing this, I'm going to go over next door. Have a little engage in the old hot dog and hamburger, which I've been doing for 26 years.
Oh, and in case you guys hadn't noticed in the workshop in the last few videos, the famous painting of Lad Von Mad is now gracing the wall next to the bookshelf.
I have an idea for another one in that series. That would be Professor Brad Mad.
Oh?
18th century explorer, 18th, 19th century explorer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that would be Thad, actually.
Oh,
Thaddeus.
Thaddeus, man. Yeah, that sounds better. Yeah. I was trying to think of a good name.
You know, on one of the steampunk forums that I hang out on sometimes, we were talking about ways to make life more interesting, and somebody had suggested go to a place where no one knows you, put on your best 18th or 19th century attire, walk into the place, say, "Pardon me, my good man, would you mind telling me what year it is?" And when they tell you, get really excited, go running out the door screaming, "Thaddeus, Thaddeus, it worked, it worked!"
All right. Well, that is not showing up at all. All right, when in doubt, use a little white.
What's the difference between using the oil and using like acrylics or watercolors?
Drying time, basically, and what it's made of. Oil paint is made from linseed or poppy seed. Linseed oil generally, but I think some people use poppy seed. No, I'm getting into cooking there with that, but linseed oil is the general binding agent with the oil.
And tempera is an egg, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which was popular in during the Renaissance.
Yeah, I think it was. I think Da Vinci, might have done quite a few. Problem with that, of course, is it just doesn't last very long.
Which is the reason they're constantly having to restore the Last Supper.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere we probably not even seeing anywhere near what the original looked like now, so kind of sad.
And I know that acrylics and watercolors is just basically pigment and water, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's more of a translucent-y sort of, kind of a real subdued set of colors, isn't it?
Well, you can get some pretty nice bright colors out of acrylic and watercolor, really.
You know what they made?
Another big difference between oil and watercolor or acrylic is drying time.
Ah.
Where it might take, well, now using this painting medium I'm using, this is drying pretty darn fast. And probably within a half hour to an hour, it will probably be dry. Whereas if I just painted it with straight oil paint, just straight paint, it might take it a few days or even weeks to dry. And in some cases, they say there's some paintings like Van Gogh where he painted just taking the tubes and squeezing them onto the canvas that are still to this day not dry. And that's been
over 100 years.
Yeah, been quite a while. Matter of fact, I can't remember. I was going to look up and see what day he died, but it's getting pretty darn close to that time of year again.
Because I know that
he was born on March 30th, and he died either in late June or July. I know that was actually, oddly enough,
what killed him?
That's a good question. I was actually just reading.
Because I'd heard he killed himself or something.
Well, he does seem to have said that he did. But I was actually reading an article the other day that said, why was I mixing gray? Oh, I know. That said he may not have killed himself. He may have been killed.
Who would have had a motive?
There's actually a long list of people that may or may not have had a motive. I actually posted that article on my Facebook page. Oddly enough, one of them would be the last person you would expect, and that would be his brother. So, but we'll stick with the we'll avoid conspiracy theories today.
What killed him anyway?
Gunshot.
Ah. He shot himself?
Yeah.
Well,
that's one reason they say he was actually shot, is because the wound was in such an odd spot for an apparent suicide.
Yeah, because that would have been a terrible way to do it.
I'm more inclined, if he did shoot himself, I'm more inclined to think maybe if he did have epilepsy, he might have had a gun out with him for whatever reason. Out in them wheat fields, no telling what you're liable to run into as far as snakes or whatever.
Wild boars, wolves in that area.
No telling. I don't know what kind of animals they got in the south of France, but it's possible that if he had a seizure and could very well have shot himself in a seizure.
Or had it stuck in his shirt, like like Napoleon. A lot of the pocket pistols were, and maybe went for it like this and fired it off and accidentally.
It's possible it was an accident. Of course, I believe he did admit himself that he shot himself, but again, we don't know. He never said why he shot himself. I'm tinkering with trees again because I got things.
Of course, he had some issues anyway.
Yes, he definitely had some issues. I mean, if you take time to read his letters, I mean, yes, he loved his brother Theo, but like most brothers, they definitely had their moments where the relationship was not as idyllic as you would see in movies like Lust for Life. Not saying it's a bad movie, one of my favorites. But, alright. We are going to find a brush and paint some rocks. I've got a stone chimney I've got to get to here. Where is my brush at? I have another new filbert brush somewhere in here. It's just dying to be used. So thank you again, Hobby Lobby. And later
it's neat how the house seems like it stays in one spot when you're moving around, so it doesn't, when you're moving the camera, it actually does kind of look three-dimensional if you do it right.
Boy, that's awful blue.
Yeah.
And that's Payne's gray, and I was talking about the Zorn palette. I'm gonna talk about it since I just did that, and notice how blue that looks. Now I'm gonna have to really the Zorn. Anders Zorn was a Swedish artist from, he was born in 1860 and died, I believe, in 1920. Does that sound like 60 years?
Something like.
He was 60 when he died, and I believe he was born in 1860 to 1920. Yeah, that would have been 60 years.
Yeah.
And he is a lesser known but an excellent painter. And he used a very limited palette. And his colors were primarily yellow ochre, white, ivory black, and vermilion. And the closest color I have to that would be cadmium red light, which I don't have on the palette at the moment, but it's a bright red, looks almost orange.
And you always use the same kind of a fairly limited palette.
Yeah, now, he did, they looked in his studio after his death, and there were empty tubes of cobalt blue. And, yeah, so he didn't only use those, he did use other colors, but when he used them sparingly and made some really nice, bright points in his paintings. Now, I suggest, look some of his work up. His portraits are very, very realistic looking. I think I mentioned I just experimented using his limited palette on a portrait that I just completed yesterday.
Is that on your Facebook?
Yes, I posted that last night. It's on my Facebook page. It is on the Artistic Impressions by Michael Facebook page. It is on Artistic Impressions by Michael on Instagram, Twitter, and it is on my Deviantart page. That's not bad. Now I'm going to go back for, whoops, there. Perspective cues off like that. Good enough. It probably wasn't perfectly straight anyway. I was really wanting to get more texture out of this. Now notice that is almost dry now. And oh, I've still got more of these little rocks. I need a smaller brush. I'm gonna do smaller rocks up there.
Mm-hmm.
Got a chimney to do.
So what are your plans for this one?
I probably do the same thing I did with the last one and take it up to the museum. And then from there they can do what they want with it.
Do you ever get the other one on display?
Not to my knowledge, but I honestly haven't been back up there to, I don't know why I'm doing that, but
it does need a little definition. Now that brought it out some.
Now then, back to what I was doing. I'm going to paint some rocks.
Yeah. Another guy that worked with an interesting palette was a guy named Carpaccio.
I am not overly familiar with him. Heard the name, but not
Well,
really
he was a painter that was known for his use of the color red. And there's an Italian raw meat dish named Carpaccio for him. It's like a steak tartare done Italian style.
I'm throwing a little Payne's gray in these trees just because I can.
Well, they would have been a little bit of weathering anyway.
I don't know, it just seemed like the thing to do at the time. I'm still trying to kind of smooth some of these lines out just a little bit, make it a little bit more. You know what? When all else fails, I've got an angle. I'll dip in some yellow. Oh, I like that. I'll dip into a little yellow and put a little of that cadmium yellow right there. Profanity. insert your profanity of choice there, folks. Look at a little straight.
You know, Grandma Moses, when she made a mistake like that, was fond of the term ishkabibble. Of course, she was 80 years old or something when she started painting, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe, yeah, that sounds about right. Boy, that is a strong color. I didn't realize how strong.
Of course, what most people don't realize is that if you look at her paintings of people where she did landscapes, her people never had any feet.
I very rarely do hands. I need to practice on hands, but all right, I'm nitpicking that part to death, and I've got all this green. Oh, you know what? I see something I haven't even touched today. While we are messing with this painting, and I've got a couple of limbs here. I wanted to. I almost forgot these things were there. I think my paint's getting used up fast, or it's drying up fast.
More intervals.
Yeah, I'm trying to get this done, but alright, are we back?
Yep.
Alright, I'm going back to my number. What number was this? It's a number 8. Okay, number 8 filbert. And later this week, expecting another filbert from Jerry's Artorama. Again, not sponsored by, but could be.
Hey, Jerry's
Artorama.
Call him.
You have my email address. Have you actually? Boy, that stuff's dried quick. Look at that. That stuff is just completely dry on the palette because I haven't messed with it.
What are you going to do with the green?
Well, I'm going to try to get some. Try to make some grassy notes if I can get some. Yeah, no, we're not drinking a fine wine here, but I'm trying to get some grassy notes here.
Of course, if your wine tastes like grass, you have to wonder.
Yeah, I never really understood why people want grassy notes in their wine.
Now, I will say I like the grass-flavored Birdie Bott's every flavor beans. But I'm kind of weird. Had a friend of mine passed away a few years ago that liked the vomit-flavored ones, so each his own, I guess.
I would like some paint that I could actually work with. I should have been working with this the whole time. This is why, people, you work on the entire painting and not focus on any one area at one time. Because now, plus it's going to be a pain in the butt to get this stuff off my palette. But this palette used to look like that. But notice how nicely it has the.
Yeah, but does it really hurt anything to have shades of paints passed on there?
Nah, it gives it a nice patina.
Kind of like, well, I was going to compare it maybe to like Japanese shidoshis and sumo, but they never wash those things, so that's kind of nasty.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different than the palette.
I mean, I clean this palette, but I mean, after you use one for a while, it's going to get, some of that color is going to get in the grains.
It's an oil paint. It's going to, that oil and wood like each other very well.
I don't care how much linseed oil you coat it with and let it dry. Eventually, you're going to have something that gets on there. All right. We're getting something similar to a grassy note anyway.
Makes you kind of wonder if this palette could talk.
Yeah, and hopefully it doesn't pick up any of my expletives, because it would definitely have some
stories to tell.
What did Spock call them? Colorful adjectives?
Yeah.
Or colorful metaphors, I believe was the word. There we go. Colorful metaphors. Let's get our quotes right.
Yeah.
It's like the Gorn thing earlier. Alright. We're rapidly approaching a point where I'm going to actually do something that's got to be done, because it's bugging the snot out of me now.
What's that?
I don't know, but it's something bugging the snot out of me.
Window panes?
You know, that's one thing I hadn't even thought about, but yeah, that is a nuisance. Oh, that's not going to work. Work over here. Worked good there. Yeah, it worked good there.
Yeah.
And it worked good over here on this one.
Yeah. Now, what Michael was trying to say earlier is we were working on the logistics for a future project.
Yes, it's we're going to say this since Mama Mad ain't here now, but we're going to get 4 painters. That would be me, Doctor, Mama Mad, and
Kid Mad.
We're going to go somewhere and we're going to paint the same subject and see what kind of results we get.
Yeah, kind of pick our own choices of subject, the way that we paint it or whatever. For my part, I'll probably go with one of those really tiny canvases.
And at some point in the future, I may do a painting demonstrating the Zorn palette, but that's down the road.
Because I've noticed when I started painting, and I've learned a lot from watching Michael here, that I like to kind of rough it in and then kind of put my shading in as I go. I don't know how orthodox that is.
Well, a lot of people do it. All right, now then, I need to.
Well, like I said, I'm an amateur at this, and
well, until I start getting paid for this, so am I. So.
Yeah, but you got a lot more experience on it, and when you're dealing with art, that counts more than actual payments.
I'm gonna keep the.
See, that was one of those things that I had trouble with, is trying to get like color in between the things like you're doing there.
Well, I think that's where Bob Ross and his technique works better. You paint the background, then the middle ground, then the foreground. Me, I don't care. I just go in here haphazard.
Well, see, I sketched out what I was doing on this last one I was working on the Stegosaurus.
And frankly, even if you look at some of Van Gogh's stuff, there's a lot of stuff that's really not complete about it. He left a lot of stuff that was just like not finished. You could see bare canvas like you can here and around these posts.
Well, see, I've got some of that going on.
So, I mean, if you're leaving blank spaces like that, I mean, you're in good company leaving blank spaces. I just wanted to kind of busy up. I like the busy look of the sky, and I'm just trying to busy it up a little more with some.
That styling looks very familiar. I've seen one like that before, but I'm trying to remember where.
I'm just trying to busy up. I just want to busy up the sky because it was I don't remember if it was a windy day or not, but I know there was a storm come up later, and I'm just trying to
capture that.
Trying to catch a little movement. And I think, if nothing else, we've caught a little bit of movement in here.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to go full-on Van Gogh and paint. Well, I don't know. I pretty much got some swirly action going with it. I'm beginning to understand now. Now I've got to fix that because that is bugging the snot out of me.
What is that? Oh, where the log smeared a little?
Where it smeared a lot and it's continuing to smear.
Yeah, but there was like some trees back there in the back, so.
Maybe it's a campfire.
It could be. Could also be the fact that it's late. It was towards nightfall. It could be just a tree off in the distance.
Or it could be that I just need to make this tree stump even bigger. It'll add a little bit more depth if I make that tree stump expand out like this.
Now, which way is your light source coming on this?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably terrible when it comes to that because I really don't care. I just want something that catches the eye and is somewhat pleasing to look at.
And it is.
And I really, I mean, I should probably pay more attention to light sources and stuff, but honestly, I don't remember where the light was coming from when we did this. Again, I can dig out my picture and find out for sure. That's better. Moving this over actually added a little more depth to the thing.
You know what it puts me in mind of?
A mess?
You ever seen that big mural they've got in the post office of the log cabins and everything?
No.
When it was a picture of what Camden looked like when it was still Tranquility.
I don't remember seeing it. I probably have and just don't remember it.
Well, they got a portrait. They got a painting of like this, and the U.S. and the post office at the time apparently was a log cabin, and that's what it kind of puts me to mind of is the collection of log cabins that was the core of what's now Camden.
Now, I think that color is totally toast now. Alright, I'm nitpicking that dang stump to death. Leave it alone. I think I have nitpicked this thing about all I can nitpick it.
Hmm? So what's your next step?
Well, if I back up too far, it's going to be off the porch. Needs... I don't know what it needs. I don't know, something about the way this is done. Just, I think it calls for this. I don't normally do it, but I think this calls for it the way it's been done the whole way.
Want some framing in around the...
And I think something about the way I've done this whole thing calls for this.
Yeah.
But I think with that, we can actually call this a hot mess, but it's complete.
Yep.
And it may not be as bad as I think. But then again,
it looks good on camera.
Yeah, I've noticed my stuff actually looks a lot better sometimes on camera than it does. Well, I don't know, you back up, it don't look half bad, but I see something that needs doing. Sometimes you just got to take a step back, and that's why I like a filbert brush, is you can get a flat edge, you can get a wide edge, you can get all kinds of edges out of it. And dip into this. Needs, that's a door, it needs something. And I know
a knob?
Yeah.
Of course, back in they would have just used a wooden bar.
I actually think this one actually had a handle of some kind. I'm going to put something on it to indicate a knob. Anyway, I'm just going to give it a nice bright yellow note. Right about there. And we'll call that a handle.
That'll work.
And I think we could actually sign this now. And then I got to scrape. I'm going to be scraping this pallet for a week. That might be fun to watch. You can watch me try to scrape this pallet, because I did not bring a firm pallet knife today. I brought a flimsy pallet knife. Not flimsy in its cheap quality. I mean, it is a Bill Alexander pallet knife. So again, not sponsored by his company, but we could be. You know what? I didn't even bring it with me. Come to think of it, that's at home. I left my Bob Ross and my. So
you left Bob and Bill both at home.
That one's got some stiffness to it. I've got a nice collection of. Oh, you know what? I do have my Bill Alexander palette knife. Here it is. But see, this one's a flexible knife, so I don't know how good it's going to be for scraping paint that is already dried, or dang near dried, off a canvas.
So what color are you going to sign her with?
Same color I always do. If I don't sign it in silver, something wrong. I've got 2 tubes of silver paint that have to be used. Which I'm eventually going to, as I use up tubes of paint, switch to a different brand. Right now I've got, I've got several different kinds. Winsor Newton, Gamblin, Grumbacher, Bill Alexander, Bob Ross, Van Gogh, Shiva, Master's Touch. I've got a little bit of everything. But I'm actually at Permalba and Gamblin's Chromatic Black, which is going to stay on my palette anyway because I just really like that. and it's the only company that makes that type black, so I will definitely stick with that. But I'm actually be switching to Lucas 1862 brand. I'm going to try them and see how I like them. And if I like them, we're not sponsored by Lucas, but we could be. And the only place you can get Lucas products is on Jerry's Artorama. Again, not sponsored by, but could be. And time for a drink, and I've got one more thing to do. Well, that was good while it lasted.
It's a hot day.
Yes, it is.
Looks good.
And out here, it ain't getting no to it.
Yeah. Before you put up the canvas, though, I'd like to get a still photo.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna wait till you get her.
Just because I watched too much Bob Ross and Bill Alexander, I'm gonna throw a little bit of I'm gonna throw some yellow in here, just for some highlights.
Well, you're gonna have a little yellow if you're dealing with grass anyway.
And as long as I'm gonna pick up a little of this yellow ochre. Because it wasn't exactly full-on spring, we were still in the early stages. And I'm going to show you a neat trick from the Zorn palette. You're wondering where he gets his blues and greens at. He used yellow ochre. And while he used ivory black, I'm just going to use the chromatic black. But you mix them, and I think you can see that is a nice...
kind of a brownish green,
yeah,
but I'm sure with
nice,
a little bit.
Nice. It's a nice olive. You get a nice olive out of it. Of course, I didn't mix enough of it to do much good, but maybe some of it will show. But I think with that, we are going to find somewhere to sign this and call her done. So now I've got to find, boy, I don't want to stick that in there like that. There. I've got to find I did not bring an extra trash bag, but fortunately I have some in the vehicle. I've got to find my liner brush. I know I packed it today because I used it yesterday. Alright, where are you? I always put you in the same. Well, I know it's got a red handle, so if I just sort out the red handle brushes, I should have a...
Alright, well, I'm going to stop while you're doing that.
To sign this thing. I could not find the brush I'm looking for. I guess I forgot to pack it after I cleaned it last night. It was smaller than the others, and it may have just slipped through the cracks when I was picking up brushes. But fortunately, I have an old, worn-out script liner, which you can tell the bristles are really, really short on it there. But it should be out to about here, and I've lost a lot of bristle off of this somehow. But we're gonna try to sign this thing with this brush. This is where having a short name like Ross comes in really handy. He's said that many a time. Well, I got my paint thin, but with this brush, it's just not holding all the paint I would like it to hold. And it's not really doing what I want it to do either. I mean, these bristles are really spreading out. I'm I'm gonna have this silver spread all over the canvas before I'm done, or the palette. Yeah, this brush sucks. Not to put too fine a point on it.
Well, that was the whole problem, is there's not too fine a point on it.
Yeah, I've got one with a fine point, but it's just not. I mean, you should look at the way these bristles spread out when they're just not. They just don't want to stay tight like they should.
Yeah.
And that's with me spinning the heck out of this brush coming through the paint too.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think that's just about as good as we're gonna get it. By God, you can read it.
Okay.
And with that, we're gonna call this puppy done. And if you want to hang around for the bonus footage of me trying to clean this junk off my palette, stay tuned.
Alrighty. I'm going to go ahead.
And a very happy 4th of July. And don't forget the reason for celebrating it. Remember to think of veterans.
Yep.
Freedom isn't free.
Yep. You think of that you're not thanking him in German, Japanese, Italian, or Russian.
But it's still English.
I can't argue that.
I don't know. You compare American English with British English. Yeah.
All right, here we are.
Okay. Now you see I've got a mess on the palette, which normally wouldn't be too bad to clean, but with all this painting medium, I use shop towels, which I pick up at Walmart. These blue suckers back there in the auto department, they're tough and they hold a lot of crap. Now up here at the top, this is going to be easy. I just take my knife and, oh yeah, see when you get to that butter, that stuff is...
Like a rubber-based type stuff?
It must be. But you see how stiff that is compared to these other paints.
Yeah.
Even though I had mixed a little in those, they're not as bad as this stuff down here at the bottom is going to be.
What are you going to have to do? Use some solvent on it?
Well, yeah, I use odorless mineral spirits, and hopefully it'll... I haven't used this painting medium for this long a duration. I usually just use it for a very short amount of time.
See, that one's already hardening up. You must have used some of it in there.
Yeah, all this stuff down here at the bottom's got it in there.
I know Kid Mad left a couple of brushes. Didn't clean them after they got done. It was a pain in the neck getting them clean. What I ended up doing is soaking them in alcohol overnight, and that got rid of it. That cleaned it up.
You see how much effort it's taken to scrape these things down. Can you imagine what it was like trying to drag a brush through that stuff?
It's one of the things I like about the acrylics is once it's dried, it's out of your way.
The thing about watercolor, and I guess acrylic is the same way, is you can let it sit and come back and just pour the water to it, and it's eventually gonna
clear up.
Now I'm try to clean this junk off my knife. Now comes the fun part. Comes a little manual labor.
Now what's that stuff?
That's odorless mineral spirits.
Okay.
We're just going to use that and wipe down the... well, it seems to be getting the... It's getting the stuff broke up pretty well.
It's an interesting shade it's getting out of it all.
Yeah, that's where all the nice color comes from on a palette that's been used. Show me a palette that clean over there and I'll show you one that ain't been used. And I haven't used that one. I have, it has got, I mean, it could be used right now. It's got, it's been treated with linseed oil and let dry over the course of several days. So it is actually ready to be used. Yeah, this thing, that stuff is going to be a mess down here at the bottom.
It seems like you got most of it off, except for those places where you had the butter stuff going on.
Yeah, this is taking a lot more elbow grease than normal.
What I like to compare it to as far as the painting goes, because you're talking about how long it takes oil paintings to go without the butter. You know, it's kind of like when my hands started hurting so much and I had to switch from Marblex to Sculpey as far as the clays. You know, Sculpey doesn't harden until you put heat to it. So that means that I've got a lot more work time that I can go with. You know? Marvlex, it's water soluble, so it's not waterproof. The Sculpey's water resistant. Not waterproof, but it's water resistant, and you can actually take your time to work on it. Isn't that kind of the same thing? Yeah, it looks like you about got it.
I could probably go with it where it's at, but there's just a few little areas. Now, here, 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 and here, and here, and there, those aren't going to come out because I was painting something and let my paint sit on there for way too long. And this was just a straight oil paint. No painting mediums or anything, just straight oil paint. And it dried, and when I scraped it off, it had stained the palette, but it gives it some character.
Yeah. Now guys,
that's about as clean as I'm going to get it.
Yep. If you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to get notified. You can follow Michael on
Instagram, Facebook, Deviantart,
is all that
Twitter.
Under Artistic Impressions?
Yeah.
And
except for the Deviantart, that is under Michael L. Woods 1701.
Alrighty. And I'll have him send me that info so I can put it into the links in the comments below. If you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to get notified. Don't forget to follow us on Pinterest, Patreon, and Facebook. And until the next video, with Michael of Artistic Impressions, we'll see you guys on the flip side. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye, and God bless. Got it.